as we head in to what is bound to be a really interesting agree or disagree segment.
Time now for agree or disagree.
Can't we just settle this over a pint?
Agree
Yes! Yes!
or disagree.
To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people! Let's get it on!
All right, so it's time for agree or disagree. Our contestants will tell us whether they agree or disagree with the given statement and then, of course, defend their position. A study released by Harvard University and published by the Union Tribune here recently says that the homeownership rate in San Diego County is under 53%. So less than 53% of people who have a home that they live in actually own it. Now, this is far lower than the national average, which is almost 65%. So today's statement that you'll be agreeing or disagreeing with is this, quote, "The American dream in San Diego is on the decline. This is proof that real estate in San Diego is not affordable for most people and that prices are too high." Jason Cassidy, we're starting with you.
Derek, this is a tough one, man. I was telling you before the show, I've been pondering this for a day or two now, and I obviously, if you read the article, we're at 53% homeownership in San Diego County. It was at 56% in 2008. So yes, it's on the decline if you just look at the numbers right there
agree?
as a whole. I disagree with the next part, which is this is proof that real estate in San Diego is not affordable for most people and that prices are too high. And here's why. I disagree with that statement because I don't know that the pricing of units, the prices have, gone up. They're getting back to 06 to 08 levels. But interest rates are still ridiculously low. And really, when I think of the affordability of a house, I think of the monthly payment. I don't think of the purchase price. And so now, obviously, the purchase price contributes to that, but there's a lot of other factors that contribute to that too. And buying a house in 2015 at even 4.5%, I know rates went up a little bit, this last week. Even at 4.5%, you're still looking at less of a monthly payment than you were in 1980 and 1985 and things like that.
Really?
San Diego's always been a desirable place to come, and it's been extremely unaffordable if you think about it from a national scale. But look where we live. I mean, prices are high here. That's just how it is. We've always been under the national average. So the fact that we dropped from 56 to 53, I don't think that it has to do with the rising prices. I think it has to do with a couple other things. I think the millennial buyers who would be buying right now were a little bit scared. 7 years ago, 8 years ago, we saw our parents going through foreclosures and short sales and things like that. I think that spooked a lot of millennial buyers who decided, you know what, I don't want any part of that, or at least not right now. I think we are moving to a urban-centric civilization. I think our younger people and even some of our middle age, our baby boomers or whatnot, are living in urban centers now. They want high walkability and things like that. So buying a home isn't as high on their list. They want the conveniences of being in an urban environment that they can walk to places and go to coffee shops and things like that. I think all of that is what's contributing to the drop from 56 to 53. I don't attribute it to the rise in prices.
Really?
Really.
You don't think rising prices has caused less people to buy?
I don't.
All right. Well, I'll disagree with you.
Where's my flag?
Where's my flag? I don't have a flag.
Yeah.
No, I do like what you're saying, and I do think it makes sense. I think that this question specifically does say that a couple of things.
Okay.
And you disagree with it
Uh-huh.
because you don't think that it's not affordable for most people and that prices are too high.
Correct.
Based on payments from the past.
Correct.
When interest rates were much higher.
Correct.
Even though prices are higher today.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Did I get that right? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Voltaire, what do you think? Do you agree or disagree that the American dream in San Diego is on the decline based on these numbers from the San Diego Union Tribune and the Harvard University study, which is proof that real estate in San Diego is not affordable for most people and that prices are too high?
I completely agree. I think the key is affordable for most people.
Mm-hmm.
Most people cannot afford to own a home. And I have different points that I would like to make, but, just to piggyback on that, the last 10 closings that I had, 20% of 2 out of those last 10 closings were investors. Another 2 out of those 10 were one person. Okay. It was two single people, and each of the homes were under $300,000 that they bought. Okay, and then the other 6 that sold, were 2 people or more. Okay, either it was a husband and wife that both worked. Okay, or it was 2 sisters and a mom, and all 3 of them work. So the affordability, in my opinion, isn't isn't affordable for most people, and that's why people start to head to the desert, right? That's why people start to head to Phoenix, to Las Vegas, to Murrieta, to Temecula, and that's whenever I ask, they say because San Diego isn't affordable for me, right? And they, I mean, why else would you go to Temecula, right? And
Like wine?
yeah. and I
Temecula's
have
become very nice.
yeah, it is nice, but even those prices are going out of control too. I was talking to my client who works at Fry's 2 days ago, and I sold him a property here in San Diego, and he says, "Hey, look, I want to buy in Temecula because you could get like a really nice property because I can't get that I'm priced out of all of East Chula Vista for a house that I want. I want a newer home, 1990s or newer." So anyways, I think, this is the thing. It's really hard to buy. Why is it hard to buy? I went through the process twice in the past 2 months, okay? And the way that they qualify you, man, I was like, they put you through the ringer. It was tough even for me. And I know how it works. And I was like, man, I can't believe they're asking for this. And, I'm just going back in my files and getting stuff for them. And it was just incredible. So number one is this. Per the article, the median priced home in San Diego was $459,000. Even if you're a first-time buyer, you need and you're getting an FHA loan. That's 3.5%. That's about $16,000 just for your down payment. You need another approximately $12,000 for your closing costs. So you're looking at about $28,000 as a first-time buyer to buy a median priced home in San Diego. That doesn't even include money to fix it up. That doesn't include, any other, miscellaneous costs that they don't think about, the supplemental tax bill at the close of escrow. And one thing with saving money, it's difficult, especially this economy where, every store out there is saying, hey, buy now, pay later. I don't know how many times I've heard that on the radio or on TV, buy now, pay later. There's so many things to buy out there. Just like the new Yeezy 350s came out, Kanye West's new shoe. It came out for $200. It's sold within minutes online. Okay?
Sold out?
Sold out. $200 tennis shoe. Now they're on eBay for $1,000. So what I'm trying to say is, especially millennials out there, they're out, going to the bars, going to restaurants, eating out every day, buying the Yeezy 350s. And they're not saving up money, man, and they're not making it a priority.
Did you buy some of those shoes, Voltaire?
I tried, but this is how difficult it was. Yeah, I actually had to live in LA, and you had to order it, and they had to get your location. So only people in LA got to buy it on the release date, which is crazy.
Wow.
And my cousin couldn't get me any. Anyways, the other thing is that's number one is the actual savings that it takes to buy a home. Number two is the monthly income. You have to make a certain amount of money to buy that home. So that $459,000 median home, the monthly payment would be $3,100 a month. Okay, so if you're a millennial, and let's say you're single and trying to buy a house, you need to be making a good amount of money to afford that home.
$3,100 net per month.
Yeah, and it's tough, and that's with an FHA 3.5% down, and that's why I see a lot of families buying homes compared to just one person. I had a client come in yesterday, first time buyer, and she said, hey, look, it's me, my mom, and my sister, and we're buying a home. And our plan eventually is, after we get this one, save up some more money, and then have my sister buy her own, have mine buy my own, and then my mom can keep this one. So it's more of a family effort. And whenever I see that, yeah, I think it's not affordable in San Diego for most people. And then the last thing is credit or debt, right? If you save up enough money and you make enough money, now it comes down to having a clean slate and not having all this outstanding debt, whether it be credit card bills or car notes or student loans. And it really makes it tough to buy in San Diego, and that's why investors buy homes and rent them out.
Right. Yeah, and that rental market has just been taking off. It's been crazy.
Right.
And I'll be interesting to see with some of these high rises they're building, especially in downtown. You know, how many of them become like 13th and Market, you know, where you like have a great location. Oh, here's a nice building. Yep, just rentals. You know, for
Right,
$2,500 a month. You know,
Right.
Can I throw a challenge flag?
you can.
I mean, we don't have the flags. So
You
I
don't have
know if
flags, but
there's
you can
a-
challenge.
Throw your
Okay.
phone.
Yeah, exactly. I'll gavel. All right.
Challenge.
So I wanted to touch on something he said. And he said, you know, Voltaire made the point that most people cannot afford to own a home. And I think there's a select, you know, there's going to be people out there who can't afford it, who can't. And then there's going to be a small select people who are buku trust fund babies and can afford anything. And those are outliers. You know, there's going to be, I'm going to talk about the bell curve, the people in the middle. And I think most people can afford to buy a home. I think it's whether or not they can afford to buy a home where they want to be. And so what I'm saying is that the median home in San Diego, you said was $459. You had to save up $16,000, 3.5%. But even if it was $359, you still had to save up $12,500 at 3.5%, and see then all the closing costs and stuff. So it's always been a big down payment. It used to be 20%. You know, now you can do 5, 10, 3.5. But you've always had to have money up front, and the difference between $359 and $459 isn't that huge on your down payment. So pricing going up did not change those people's minds. Maybe some, but not the most people's minds. I think what it is, and like you said, you're finding families buying homes, and the one persons, they want to go out and they want to go to the bar and they want to. It's a change in the shift of millennial buyers and the way we think that is causing that 56% to 53% drop in home ownership rate. I don't think it's as much the rising price as it is a culture shift.
Voltaire, your rebuttal.
Yeah, my response to that is, I mean, you said it went, if they were to come down to 359, number one, okay, which areas are they going to be able to buy at 359? How much is the inventory? I mean, under 400,000, and I sell a lot of under 400,000. Inventory level is way low. You know, there's
correct me if I'm wrong, but inventory is low all over San Diego, right? I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Oh, any price range, right?
Okay.
Right. Okay. So with that being said, inventory levels are low, and it's a dogfight. You know, 10 to 15 offers per property.
Yeah.
Now, can they afford it? Well, yeah, if they save in every nickel, don't go out to the movies, you know, don't go out to eat, don't enjoy life. And that's one thing people are trying to avoid. And, you know, one small lesson that they learned from, you know, the Great Depression, 2008, you know, where everything crashed is, you know, people were living beyond their means. Now, at the same time, a lot of people that I talk to now, when I first meet them, they say, hey, look, I want to buy a house, but if it means, you know, I can't have a life, I can't go out to a movie theater, I can't, you know, enjoy a day at the park with my family, and I have to work, you know, 2 shifts and things like that, I just rather not buy, because I saw different people go through that, whether it was immediate family or then themselves, they lost the property. So at the end of the day, you know, the question was for most people, and I think most people, if you just take most people, you know, most people don't have great jobs. Most people, you know, they say that the unemployment rate is at a certain percent, but we all know it's a lot higher. So, you know, when it comes to most people, you know, I would have to say again that most people cannot afford San Diego. And if they can, I mean, there's can or want. Maybe they can, but again, they're going to have to save up every nickel. Their payment's going to go from $3,100 at $459 to maybe $2,400 at $359. And you know, what type of property can they get? Can they get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath at $359? Maybe if they step it up under $350, they could go to Spring Valley, you know, parts of El Cajon, Southeast San Diego, like in Cano and things like that. Yeah, but the house that they're gonna get, they probably, you know, it's not what they're imagining in their head.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I feel like he's making my point for me. I feel like he's making the point of want over can. And I think that when you break down the affordability and the pricing numbers, the difference in payment with the interest rates the way they are now, you're actually paying less of a payment than you were in the 90s and 80s. So how is it then that the home ownership rate dropped? It's because we don't want to buy homes anymore. Well, not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, from
You don't want
56
to
to
you don't want
53.
to give up the lifestyle. And I'm sure you go out to any trendy area and you see how, you know, all the people that are packing the restaurant that really can't afford to be there or shouldn't if their priority were straight. And that's where I think the cultural shift is, that people want to spend money on numerous discretionary things rather than investing in their future. And that's where the cultural shift has taken place, and I think it's unfortunate.
And it's not from one day to the next where they can say, oh, I'm going to buy, you know what, I'm going to buy tomorrow or whatever. No, it's a process. They have to save. Okay, they have to get rid of their debt. And then, if they have a great job, great. But, sometimes.
Well, there's the problem.
Yeah. I get those clients all the time to say, the lender says, oh, you know what? They need to pay off their car first. They're going to be ready in, 6 months, 12 months, a year and a half or whatever, So, that's where I'm coming from. I think one big thing that, that has to be taken into consideration is where our point of views are coming from. You're in downtown, and I'm sure a lot of your clients they're well-to-do. Same thing with friends or socioeconomic upbringing, right? The way that that I grew up is completely different, I'm sure. At the same time, the people that we know, the people that we experience every day on a day-to-day basis, I think I have like a pretty broad view of of knowing a bunch of different types of people. And what I'm going off of, for example, is this air? Is that on there?
We're recording it.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, like, for example, I mean, I grew up right there in that area, Barrio Logan, right? So let's say out of every 10 friends I have, 2 of them sell dope, right, growing up. So, it's crazy, right? But one economic indicator would be, how are they doing? And it's funny because I talk to some of my friends. It's like, how's so-and-so doing? Like, oh, man, it's kind of tough for him right now. And it's like, okay, well, that means, like, we're still in a slump economically. And it's crazy to think, but I mean, that's that's one thing growing up I realized. And then whenever they're doing good, it's like, okay, the market's coming back, like it's crazy to
might be one of those weird indicators you could use to like speculate on.
And
it's stock market,
and it's crazy to say, but at the end of the day, I'm going off of the majority of people that I talk to. It's really tough for them to afford to buy a property, and that's why they buy it together, 2-3 people at a time, families or whatever.
I want to strike from the record the assumption that I didn't come from that I grew up in posh. That's not the case at all. And I live downtown now, but because I choose to live there, I can afford to buy in El Cajon if I wanted to.
Right.
But I choose to live a life in downtown in an urban city center. And I grew up in a El Cajon-ish place, single mom, 2-bedroom house, all that type of stuff. So I don't want to have in the judge's mind that I come from posh.
It's the 1%, man.
I'm not a 1%.
Helicopter.
That was yours, wasn't it?
Whose Lambo is that? I wanted to know who that was.
Right.
I'm gonna give you a point for a good argument. Okay. So we're just gonna call it there. Let's hear from John Lieber on this one, because I tell you, this is an interesting one. I want to reset it, John, for you. They're doing agree or disagree right now, commercial-free content through smartersandiego.com for the real estate debate. And this is our agree or disagree segment where our contestants agree or disagree with the given statement. There's a study released by Harvard University, published by the Union Tribune. It says the homeownership rate in San Diego County is under 53%, far lower than the national average of almost 65%. So today's statement is, quote, the American dream in San Diego is on the decline. This is proof that real estate in San Diego is not affordable for most people and that prices are too high. John Lieber, agree or disagree?
Okay, I disagree with that statement. The American dream in San Diego is on the decline, and it's proof that it's not affordable for most people. I think it is almost totally cultural, and I actually agree with a lot of this article. I think that statement contradicts the article some. But let me start by saying I think if you were to look at any big urban area in the country, if you were to look at New York City, if you were to look at San Francisco, you would find those same statistics where you've got lower home ownership than you do in the Midwest, where everyone goes out and buys a home. That's just more of the culture there. There's not the trendy places to go. There's not the big urban centers that are drawing younger people in that are more attracted to that than they are in homes. This article specifically says that a lot of the problem here, a big key to the national decline, has been people between the ages of 45 and 64. So that's just an interesting statement in itself, that a lot of those people that are in the baby boomer and a little bit younger generation that are the ones that should be buying aren't buying, and that's nationwide, that there's a trend there. But going back to these numbers they've got in here, they're saying the median household that rents in San Diego is at $42,000 a year. And what I looked at is, okay, well, when I looked at an affordability calendar at $42,000 a year, you can afford a home in San Diego. It might not be where you want to live, and I think that's where the shift is, that people would rather spend their money doing other things than to sacrifice and invest. And that's, I'll get into that in the second half of my response, but at $42,000 a year, there are over about 350 homes that are active, available on the market in San Diego right now that someone could go buy. So it's a myth that you can't go out and buy something with that income. You can do it. It's just a matter of, are you willing to make the sacrifice and do it? The article also says the average income or median income in the county is about $84,000 a year. And I think that's a better picture of San Diego County than just looking at what's within the city limits. It's just gets a little bit skewed in that small of an area. So at $84,000 a year, you can qualify for a $350,000 house. There are over 1,200 homes active, available on the market in that price range right now. So that's a big percentage of our total inventory. I think we're, high 6,000s, maybe 7,000 homes on the market. So you've got a big chunk of those 20%. That are affordable to the median income in San Diego. So the point here is that people are choosing to not buy. And I would say it's a lot less affordable to not buy when you look at where rents are going. Rents are trending up so much every year. I did a study a while back and looked at, okay, if rents increase 3% a year, where are we going to be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? So if you can rent for $2,000 a month right now, in 10 years, you're at almost $3,000 a month with a very modest 3% gain. In 20 years, you're at almost $4,000 a month. And at 30 years, when the person that's bought their home and has a fixed interest rate has paid off their home, you're at about $4,600 a month in rent. So wow. The point is, you need to invest in your future. Even if it's not the home that you necessarily want to be in forever, at 25 or 30 years old, you shouldn't be buying the home that is your dream home. It should be a place that you're comfortable and you want to live, but it should also be a little bit of an investment. And nationwide, the average renter's net worth is about $5,000. $5,000 net worth. The average homeowner's is $200,000. And you just look at these numbers and they're just startling. So if you don't start the process until you're 35 or 40 or 45 years old, you're well into your 70s before you actually start to accumulate some of that wealth that a home can bring. And so it's a really concerning article that you've got so many of these people that aren't even really that young anymore. When you get into your early 30s and older, I don't know, you're not really even though you might still be considered a millennial, I don't know where the cutoff is. Man, you should get it together a little bit. You shouldn't be going out and spending $200 on a dinner if you could use that money to help pay for a mortgage.
At the end of the day,
you can fix your quote unquote rent payment in the form of a fixed loan for 30 years, and in 10, 20, 30 years you're going to be in such a better place. So I think my biggest passion for people that are in this price range, like we've talked about many times, is to buy it. You can buy a multifamily property and supplement almost the entire mortgage. Like I said, there are multiple homes available for people in pretty much every income bracket if they're willing to make a different decision and sacrifice a little bit on the front end for a huge gain on the back end.
If you do nothing else for your retirement other than have a paid-off home, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And
do it at 30. At 60, you've got however many years after 60 years old where you're living rent-free.
And that's something that I've been saying for years for people. Like if you can't save, if you're not a saver, if you don't have a 401k or you don't know how to invest in the stock market, you don't know how to sock money away, if you can do just one thing, it would be buy a home and then eventually own it free and clear. And if you're in that position, you're going to be all right.
Yep.
And that's the only way we can really make sure of it, because if you're at the whim of rents, then you're probably not going to be all right. because rents are going up and there's no way to control it, and it'll never stop.
Right.
It'll just keep eating away at your income. So great answers. John Lieber had a great segment there as we recap the scores. Voltaire now has 12 points. John has 13 points. And Jason Cassidy also has 13 points as we head into listing of the week. So what we've got right now is we've got anybody's game here for this real estate debate trophy, the Golden Microphone Trophy.